Good morning. Happy Monday. Today, we're back in the Gospel of Luke, of course, and we're in chapter 5, starting in verse 12. And this is a very special story. This is a story, in fact, that changes everything. The cleansing of a leper. Why is that? Skin disease, the cleansing of a leper. Let me read first so that we can get some context here of what's going on. This is starting in verse 12. And it happened when he was in a certain city that behold, a man who was full of leprosy saw Jesus. And he fell on his face and implored him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. First of all, he shouldn't have been there, right? They're not allowed in city limits. They're not allowed anywhere near other people. They're supposed to be walking around saying, unclean, 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 so that other people know not to get close to them. So just keep that in mind. Then Jesus put out his hand and touched him, also not normal, saying, I am willing, be cleansed. Immediately the leprosy left him, and he charged him to tell no one, but instead, go and show yourself to the priest and make an offering for your cleansing as a testimony to them, just as Moses commanded. And he goes on, but let's stop there because this is a very, very cool thing that's happening. Nobody has seen a leper get cleansed at this point, right? I think Moses and Aaron were the last people to see lepers cleansed. Well, I guess there was a leper that Elijah cleansed. But very uncommon. So when he says, go show yourself to the priest, it's a little different. One, because usually the priest would go to where the leper is, because the leper's not allowed in, because he has to be proven clean first to even get anywhere near them. So they would have called for him, and the priest would have gone out to where they were at and said, oh, okay, well, let me look. And they would have done their little inspection and pronounced him clean. And then they would have gone and done a very unique sacrifice and ritual cleansing to restore him back to society. So there's so much here. I'm trying to figure out where to even start on this. Jesus, first the leper's there. He says, if you're willing, I know you can do this. And Jesus does the unthinkable. In fact, he does exactly what he does with us every single day. He does exactly what he did with us on the cross. He is a loving and caring healer of all things, removes sin from the earth by his touch and his word. And this moment is no different. Jesus grabs a hold of him. I like to think of him grabbing his head and putting his head to his head. Just the most intimate version of this is what I like to envision in my mind, because it's so similar to what he does to us. Jesus not only has the authority, but he has the power to reverse uncleanliness. So when Jesus touches him, it was probably done at that moment. But he says, I'm willing. Be cleansed. This is something that a priest did not have the power or the authority or the willingness, the grace, the love to do, because there was no cure for this. Jesus is the only cure for this. And so it was something they would have never seen before. They would have had to dust off an old scroll to make sure they got it right, I'm sure, because they didn't have any practice performing this ceremony other than the fact that it looks strikingly similar to the ceremony that they use to purify, to cleanse a priest in preparation to his priesthood. Very interesting stuff. So, Jesus sends them a testimony. New guys in town, new things are happening. You don't stop anywhere else. Just go straight to the priest and take them, your 2 pigeons or doves or whatever it was, and they'll do the sacrifice. But it's going to be a testimony to them. And we'll see how effective that method of testimony was tomorrow, because now they're all watching. Jesus does this with our life. He's done it with mine. Talk about being rejected by society. Talk about being seen as less. I'm a felon. I'm a felon with some crazy charges. Some of them real, some of them not. Some accusations real, some not. But nonetheless, nobody wanted me around either. And so to see God restore something like that in somebody's life like mine, to see somebody restore somebody to society is a beautiful thing to me. And to see how he uses it for testimony and how powerful that is. And we can see how powerful that is because in Revelation, quote me on this, I'm thinking like Revelation 22 or maybe 12, one of those. It talks about that the enemy is defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the power of our testimony. And so, when Jesus wants to make waves, who does he send? You. He sends me. He sends something that is undeniably his power. Because I didn't do anything that would warrant me the right to be able to do what I do today, other than just simply wake up every day and serve him and do my very best and fail a lot. Yes, I do that a lot. But nobody can say, oh, David's just lived a wonderful life, and so of course that's what he does now. Nah. No, anybody that actually knows me knows that God's power came in and changed my life. And that's the power of testimony. It's beautiful when it happens like this, the leper, that Jesus came while I was still sinning and changed me and said, I'm willing, are you willing? And I said, I'll do whatever. And of course I've failed and fell and had to learn some lessons along the way. But every day when he asked me, every day I remember to say, yes, I'm willing, if you're willing. And every day he's willing to continue to use my testimony. Just like he was with this guy. The guy comes to him, reverse, are you willing? I know you can if you're willing. And Jesus says, I am. And then he sends him with that brand new testimony of healing to the people that are going to have a hard time believing it no matter what. But either way, it's a powerful testimony. And so I really think that, the cleansing of the lepers, anytime you see a cleansing of a leper, the testimony is something incredible. It is something so incredible that they only have a few examples of it ever happening in all of their scrolls. And then all of a sudden, nobody can deny it because, wait, now there's a ton of lepers getting healed from this point on. There's going to be many more lepers healed like that they're going to have to restore. And so the testimony will be an undeniable proof that Jesus has authority and power over things that even the high priest doesn't. And so anytime you think he doesn't love me because he can't forgive whatever the case is, whatever you've done that you may think that God can't heal, cleanse, or restore you to proper place in society because of, think again. Think again, because anytime you see a cleansing of a leper, just know, not even a high priest at the time could do that. Only Jesus can do that. And the beauty of it is that the thing that they go and they perform isn't a thing of healing or anything else. It's a cleansing to restore them to society, to their proper place into the kingdom of priests that Israel was, in fact. And so, I don't know. I'm having a hard time putting this into the right words. What I want to say is that Jesus has the heart, the ability, the willingness, and the patience for you to restore your life through whatever means necessary, whether people believe it's possible or not, whether they believe that it's real or not, it won't matter. And this is proof of that. Nothing that they thought was the way things worked in the world mattered when they showed up cleansed of something that was thought to be a death sentence, socially, physically, and otherwise. And Jesus is still doing it today. Maybe you don't have skin disease. Maybe you have felonies like me. Maybe you have weird legal accusations that weren't true. Maybe you have whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're a murderer. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, Jesus is big enough to use your testimony to help another human being. Use your testimony to restore lives. And it won't matter whether people believe it or not based on anything. Because when Jesus makes that level of a change in someone's life, it no longer matters what other people think. The fruit will speak. The Holy Spirit will move things around and make things work out for you so that you are in front of the right person at the right time to make the right things happen. And he will give you a service to perform in his kingdom. And it'll be a powerful one because your testimony will be undeniably the power of God. And so let that be an encouragement to you today. And I pray that God speaks to you on this level today, and he brings to mind whatever it is that's been making you think that you're unworthy, that's been making you think that you're too far gone, that's been making you think that this is the one thing that nobody will ever accept you in whatever circles it is that you're wanting to be in because of. And so I pray right now that God brings that up and tells you, I love you still. Yes, I am willing. Be cleansed. Hope you guys have a good day.